law, I shouldn't say this while I'm broadcasting, but sod's law, as I went live tonight, we actually had audio glitches. So I'm on my computer doing this in real time. There's no studio hands tonight. It's me on my own doing this. So apologies if you've got to put up with my mush a bit up close and personal. We are going to start in 2 more minutes. Just wait for everybody to join. Please let us know where you're joining from in the chat. I'm going to put my slides up in a moment so you can see the slides. And maybe we'll have some time to do some demos as well. So yes, we had a few glitches in the broadcast tonight. So I'm live from my PC. So please do let me know in the chat that you can hear me. You can see me okay. That would be perfect. Just so that I can see everybody's here. Hi, Michael from Charleston, West Virginia. RS from Helsinki. Brilliant. Let us know where you're from. We will start in 1 more minute. Just get everybody in, and then we'll kickstart tonight's session. So let's double check the settings on YouTube. Bear with me. Make sure that we're there as well. Just bear with me a second whilst I get everything up. Bear with me a second. So we seem to have a glitch with YouTube that it's not going up to YouTube at the moment. But I will broadcast from here and we will start going. So just as you're watching now, let me just get some basics going. Some of the team who are in the chat will let everybody know that they can't get to it from YouTube. But there we go. It looks like that's going live now. Sorry for the tech glitch, everybody. It's sod's law that this all kicks off at the same time. So we're here and everybody can see us, which is awesome. So welcome everybody. Right. So we're going to get into some presentation, and I'd really like to do some live demos tonight as well. So if you're watching this, obviously put some questions in the chat. That would be brilliant. Peter's watching on YouTube, so we're all up and running again. So we're going to go through a lot of stuff as fast paced as we can because I want to get some demos in. I've got my LinkedIn up to show you some of the things. And I did a poll earlier today and basically asked people what their thoughts was and what their goals were from coming on LinkedIn. And I thought it would be worthwhile just starting by sharing what the challenges people have. So this is my LinkedIn account, and feel free to come and find me on LinkedIn. And I'm going to cover tonight, the majority I'm going to cover about getting meetings with prospects, building a pipeline, and lead generation. I'm going to talk about those areas tonight. Selling through content we did last week. And on the 3rd of August, we've got a boot camp on that. So I'm going to really focus in on getting meetings with prospects tonight. And then the secondary lead generation and building a pipeline. So as we kick into this now, I'm just going to flick through the slides, get everything going. So if you've never been to one of our training sessions before, there's no real sales pitch tonight. So this is absolutely training. And my job tonight is to help you leave with more clarity about how you should approach LinkedIn. So every week, actually, it's every week now, we help more than 1,000 businesses through free training and online training and all of our different programs we run. It's about 1,000 people a week across all the stuff that we do. And our mission is to help 1 million businesses. So if you're watching tonight, there's no need to stress that you're going to be put under any pressure to buy anything. There's no actual promotion. It's literally training and helping you think a little bit different. Hi, Andy from Andy C from P1 Watches, and I can see everybody's joining now, so it's perfect. So I'm Dean Seddon. I'm the founder of MAVERRIK, so please do come and check me out on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. And if there's anything you think, I'd love to ask a question, but I don't want to ask it tonight. I don't want to put it in the chat. You can DM me on LinkedIn, and it does take a little while for me to get back to you, but I will come back to you and answer all your questions if you have any. So this is what I want to cover. The intro, which I've kind of done, the connection limit, goals and results, how quickly can you achieve a sale, teach you some strategy behind LinkedIn, lead generation posts we'll look at, and then maybe we've got some time for some live demos to have a look at. Hi, Paul from Sydney. Paul, you're up late. And Val from Denver. Awesome to have you all here. And I think across the two channels, we got about 500-600 people watching, which is brilliant considering the technical glitches we've had tonight. So that's what we're going to go through tonight. Feel free to ask questions in the chat and I'll come and flick to them as we go. I'll also put my email address on screen here, because at some point I'll give you resources that you can get for free from us that might help you. So it's hi@maverick.co.uk, and I'll try and put that up at various points. Awesome. So let me get on with this. So the majority of what people are trying to do on LinkedIn is totally flawed and wrong. And I'm going to try and kind of unpack this a little bit more to really explain why I believe people are doing LinkedIn wrong. I'll give you a couple of examples. I put a young person who'd never sold anything onto LinkedIn in their life before, gave them an hour's worth of training, and within an hour they'd started to have conversations with major decision makers in large businesses in the US, UK and Europe through following a very straightforward approach. And it is this, and if you've got notepads and pens, remember this: forget all of the technology, forget it all. Yeah, you do not need any technology other than a LinkedIn account to actually build revenue and a pipeline and generate meetings. You don't need any of it. Now, Sales Navigator is brilliant because you can find the right people more accurately. You can find the people who are more active. So these are obviously brilliant tools, but the technology is not what's going to unlock LinkedIn for you. It's not about the technology. It's actually about your ability to create relationships. That's what this is really about with LinkedIn. And I'm going to show you some of this and how this works. And the reason most people are doing it wrong is because their eagerness for a sale betrays them. There's a strain of thought, or a train of thought that says, I don't want to waste time targeting the wrong people or people who are not interested. So if I lay it out right there and then what I can do, and if they want it, and I can move on. The problem is, or the reality is, most of your target audience, most of the people you want to have a conversation with, most of the people you want to sell to are not thinking about how they need you there and then. It's only in a conversation can you really unlock that moment, that moment where they go, I can see how this could work for me. Some people tell me, particularly on our content training, that a lot of the customers that they're targeting don't see the need for their product or service at that moment in time. And that's true. But when you're in conversation, you can understand that client better, you can ask questions, and you can unlock and help them see how and why they need you, your product or your service. So why I say majority are doing it wrong is because they're forgetting this. They're forgetting all of this human to human stuff, and they're literally hitting people up. They're broadcasting sales messages to find the needle in the haystack, the person there and then who is ready to buy. So some of you may go, well, what's wrong with that? I'll send 500 messages and I'll get 1 or 2 bites, and that's brilliant. 1 or 2 bites from 500. If they spend 20, 30,000 pounds with me, it's a dream. And it is. I send the same message to a load of people and get, say, 2 bites, 2 sales. I've made £60,000. So the ROI of messaging 500 people is £60,000. And that seems like a brilliant return on investment until you start to realize what happened to all those people who ignored me, removed me, and decided they wouldn't do business with me because of the way I did it. So sometimes in our eagerness to turn sales round, we forget the human element and lose opportunities to pursue the easy opportunities. Sometimes we pursue the low-hanging fruit, the people who are ready right now, the needle in the haystacks. We go for them at the expense of the people who need a little bit more work. And this whole process that people are going through, it's literally template driven. You can't build a relationship from it. You can't, as I say, you can't automate a conversation. And this is the process that they're taking. And this is actually an example from a lead generation company where they say 1,000 prospects equals 4 sales. That for me is a bad process. If your process is reliant on a 99% failure rate, it's not a very successful process. It's not a very successful strategy. If I went for a job interview and the person said, so what's your sales success, Dean? What's your sales success from your past experience? If I said, well, out of every 1,000, I'll get 4. Or every 250, I get 1. Now, if you're selling something for £1 million, nobody cares, except for the fact what happened to the 10 million that you lost because you pursued the easy million. And I've seen this happen countless times. It's a broken process. It basically goes, it's numbers. It's a numbers game. Now, that might seem really appealing. It might seem really exciting. A numbers game. I can play a numbers game and make money. Yes, you can. But it gets harder and harder and progressively harder and harder. And you have to keep going for new tactics, new gimmicks to make it work. What I'm going to show you tonight is a way you can do it without all of that stuff that burns leads. And it's 1% successful. That's what that strategy that I've just shown you is, 1%. 99% of people are literally losing out. I've said this before, but you wouldn't in any other scenario, you would not. Let's put it in another scenario. If I was in a sales meeting and my sales manager said to me, okay, how confident are you that your leads will convert? And I said 1%. They'd be horrified. But for some reason, that 1% has such a shiny value to it. We disregard the inefficiency, the laziness of this process. 20% is what you should be heading for. Your strategy should be 20%. 20% is a good number because it's obviously massively better, but it's actually a number where you can say there's a degree of skill involved, there's a degree of expertise, and there's a degree of talent involved. If you're just playing numbers, you will run out of opportunities. You will run out of opportunities. Brittany, yes, this session will be recorded and we will share the replay. So if anybody does want the replay, I'll put the email on screen and you can email us and we'll send you the replay. So if you want to, the email's on screen. Go ahead, send an email. You can send it now if you want. And when we wrap up, probably tomorrow, actually, we'll send the replays out. So here's the replay. So I am going to get to some actual LinkedIn detail, but I want you to think about this, really important. It's not your activity on LinkedIn. It's not being busy on LinkedIn that's going to unlock revenue. It's not going to unlock your pipeline. It's not going to unlock your meetings. It's the strategy behind it that makes it work. If you just go on LinkedIn and have a go, you'll get have a go results. If you build a strategy that performs, you'll have results from LinkedIn, consistent and repeatable. So this is not a magic trick. I want you to write down, how much is a sale worth to you? How much is a sale worth to you? So just write it down on your own thing. The other thing is, some people are selling cheap stuff on LinkedIn. It's as easy to sell a 5K product as it is a 500. And some would say 1,000 products is a £10,000 product. It's a bit longer, but the difference in selling a 5K product and a 50K product is not very dissimilar. It's very, very similar in how it works. The mechanics are the same. You have to unlock a relationship. Rakita, of course, Absolutely connect with me on LinkedIn, no problem at all. So you need to bear this in mind. If you're going to try and sell on value, you can't behave like you're selling a 500 quid product. So ask yourself, is my strategy right now for am I doing a 5K strategy or a 50K strategy or a £5 strategy? What's the strategy that you're doing? Yeah, Amy, I know we're joking here. It's just a few zeros. But actually, some people, and I've seen this, I've seen one company trying to pitch a £250,000 product and using a freaking robot to send automated messages. For me, maybe they're rich and don't care about these clients, but for me, if you're trying to shift a £250,000 product, it's worth the effort. It's worth a bit of human effort to nudge them, because you will nudge more of them by doing it yourself. Every American, yeah. So it's okay. Let me do it this way. $800, $8,000. It's very similar. $5,500, $5,000. It's the same point. If you're trying to sell it, is your strategy, does it reflect a cheap product or does it reflect a high value product? So how many inquiries do you need? And it's important that you write down these numbers, because when you're doing your activity, you need to understand how many relationships do I need to cultivate. If I'm trying to sell and my conversion rate is 20%, my sales success rate is 20%, and you will get there. With this training, you will get there. If it's 20%, how many people do I need to be building relationship with to unlock this effort? How many do I need to unlock it? So don't assume you can have 100% success, but likewise, don't go down the route of the 1,000. So if you need 10 clients and it's 20%, you need to be talking to about 50 potential clients. 50. Now, probably a few more to begin with as you get into this routine. So now let's put this in context. You've written down, and this is personal to you. You don't need to tell me, you don't need to share it. You've written down how much a sale's worth to you. You know how many inquiries you need. You know how many sales you need. How much time are you prepared to trade to secure those sales? So if it's 10 and they're $5,000 each, that's $50,000. How much time are you prepared to invest? Because I'll give you the harsh reality. You either invest time or you invest money. You can't do low cost. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work in physics. It doesn't work in engineering. It doesn't work in any aspect of life that you can engineer a cheaper, faster solution that's significantly, there's still energy involved. Energy has to be used somewhere. It's scientific, it's business, it's everything. It has to be used somewhere. So let's have a look at what your goal is with LinkedIn. Your goal is conversations with interested prospects. Conversations. So your job is not to sell your product on LinkedIn. It's not to sell it at all. Your job is to unlock conversations. That will lead to meetings, and from meetings you can have a discussion with the right people. If you're using Sales Nav, you can target exactly the right people, the people you know you can help, the know you can make a difference, and you can have a meaningful conversation. Trindan's asked, so Trindan, let me just make a point, and I'm not picking on you here, but I'm going to make it really clear, right? There is no technology, no AI, none of it can replace you in striking up a conversation. None of it. No robot, none of it. For you to unlock a sale, you have to look a human in the eye, you have to interact with a human and have a conversation. If you try and shortcut that, you will either undermine your value or get ignored. There is no way about it. Let me ask you this. If somebody picks up a LinkedIn message and you've sent the same one, copy and paste, to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and they bite off that, right? It's not about your solution. It's about their immediate need. You will always be a commodity. Yeah, you can find the needle in the haystack once, But if your business strategy is based on finding a needle in the haystack every single day, that's a job and a half. That's quite a hard job. So prospects, you need to talk to prospects who need a solution, prospects who need you. So let's look at how quick can you get a result from LinkedIn. So 6 weeks of focus and you can have a very healthy pipeline. 6 weeks. 90 days is the sweet spot. Now, a sweet spot for generating anything successfully, repetitively. It'll take you 2 to 3 weeks to get your head around it. Now, some of you are going to switch off at this point and go, I'm not doing it for 6 weeks. I'm not doing it for 90 days. And this is what I want to say to you. You need to get a grip. You really need to get a grip. If you're in business, if you're building your career and you can't commit to something for 6 weeks or 90 days, you're mad. Because basically what you're thinking and your mindset is, I want a quick win or I'm out of here. And if that's what you will do, you will continue to buy gadgets, trinkets, latest secrets, and all this stuff and miss the actual solution, which is building a long-term pipeline. This is not a popular message in this day and age when you can see Facebook ads telling you how they made 100K in 14 minutes. But this is reality. This is reality. Somebody's asked about what's the time duration of a post? A post will last for a day. A post has a life of a day. Every time you put a post up, it replaces the previous post. Somebody's asked about the 6 weeks. The reason I say 6 weeks is it'll take you a couple of weeks just to get into a routine. It will take you a couple of weeks just to find your feet. And then you've probably got 3 to 4 weeks of real good going at it. Some of the people you want to do business with that you aren't connected with, some of the people you want to do business with, you probably don't know who they are right now. So there's a lot of work you've got to do to find. Phil, you're absolutely, everybody wants the quick fix. But it is about doing the groundwork, repeat. And I saw a video the other day and somebody said, most of the successful people are successful because they do boring work a lot. Now, I love the thrill of closing a deal. We celebrate closing deals in the company, but there's a lot of boring work. And I some of you are going, oh, I'm not going to do that. I wanted a little secret. I wanted a little ebook that'll teach me how to make $1 million in 5 minutes. That's not happening here, right? So it takes you 6 weeks to get into a routine. It takes you 90 days to really nail it. So I have had people do it quicker, don't get me wrong, but the reality is the average is a lot quicker. So you can get 5 invoice sales in 90 days. That is possible. The 30 days is like, you have to be really on your game. 60 days, good chance. 90 days, you should be nailing it, but only with the right strategy. So LinkedIn stats, 62% have not made any sales from LinkedIn. They're struggling to do it. So the majority of people are using LinkedIn as a research tool and sending spammy messages. And what you really need to do is have a conversation. And we'll have a look at this in a minute. So how do we do it and never pitch? So this is a little process we do. But what I want to do is I'm going to focus in on some key things. So the first order of business is, and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to go to LinkedIn and do this actually because it's more fun. Who do you want to talk to and who do you want to do business with, right? So first order of business is who out of LinkedIn do you actually want to target? In Sales Navigator, you can target anybody you want. So managing director, there we go. And I want them in, I don't know, information technology and services. And I want them in the United Kingdom. So I'm going to show you why you want Sales Navigator first, and then we're going to go through a real strategy. Patrick, I love your analogy. I love it. So here we go. United Kingdom, information technology. Let me zoom out a little bit just so that we can get more on screen. And I'm also going to factor in how big is the company. Just be aware, right? I see this all the time. If you're selling something to a bigger company, and it's a 5K product, The business owner, managing director is probably not going to be involved. So you need to factor in who is the decision maker at the different sizes of the company. So in a small business, obviously the managing director or the founder or the CEO is going to be the person. But the bigger it gets, the further it away. Shabab, hello from GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I don't know where that is actually. Sorry, I was just being mischievous. So here we go. 1 to 10. So there's 4,000 people on LinkedIn who are managing directors 1 to 10 in the United Kingdom of this size company. 4,000. 117 have changed jobs in the last 90 days. That means they've updated their LinkedIn profile in the last 90 days with a new job role 2 months ago. They've updated their job. So they are brilliant because they're brand new in the role. They'll probably want to put their own stamp on things. They'll want to update things. They'll want to do things their way. So they're open to new ideas and new ways of working. I'll come to this in another session because this is more Sales Navigator centric. Then we've got the 1,000 who posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. And then we've got 576, but we'll not bother them. So let's just no-brainer it here. Who are the priority people here you want to actually talk to? Sarka, most CEOs, actually, in the UK, we did some research for one of the government departments during the pandemic, and we found that CEOs and founders are more active than any other user by nearly 10 to 1. For every 10 users, for every 10 employees, there's a CEO more active than them. So it's sorry, let me get the stats right. It's about 26% of CEOs are active on the platform versus 4-5% of normal users. So when you're on premium, you can do a search, but you don't know who's active. It's very difficult to see who's active. You can't prioritize it. So the obvious thing here is that these 1,000 are active, and see, we've got a list here of all the 1,000. Now, here's the things where people get stuck and get struggle. And it's this. Okay, I want to sell to this person. I want to have a conversation. I know we can help them. How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? So let's just bear in some factors, and I'm going to show you some demos of how I would do this in real time. I'll do it on some Maverick employees because I don't want to do it to a real person because of obviously I'm doing it live. So this is live. So let's say, for an example, I'm trying to sell to this person. So let's pick somebody here on our team. I'll see who I've got. So I'm going to pick on, let's have a look. Is there some people I'm not connected to? So let's go relationship second. Nope. So I'm going to pick on Jess Davies here. So I'm going to pick on Jess. So imagine Jess is my prospect. I'm going to walk you through this process. Imagine Jess is my prospect and I want to build a relationship. Number one, if I send a connection request cold, I know for well, my acceptance rate will be less than 25%. So if I do this wrong, I will eliminate 75% of my prospects. So if I go in cold, I basically ruin 75%. So I can't go in cold. The other thing to bear in mind is that LinkedIn's terms of service say you shouldn't be sending connection requests to people you don't know. And if you do that repeatedly, they will put a restriction on your account. So number two, my account's at risk. Now, number three, there is a certain pattern of behavior that pretty much everybody does on LinkedIn before they decide to respond to you. So number one, if I interact with Jess in any way, shape or form, the first thing she's going to do is come and check my profile. Despite what a lot of VC, I would say it's absolutely imperative. It will cut down and reduce the amount of wasted time you spend trying to sell to dormant accounts and dead accounts, people who aren't there. So number one, if you do this and fire this out, Jess is going to come and look at Dean's profile. Now, For many, there's two different strategies that you can use with your profile. This one is a proper sales strategy. There is an inbound lead strategy, which is different, and actually the two conflict with each other. So the inbound lead strategy, yes, LinkedIn user, I'll do that in a minute. So you've got the LinkedIn inbound lead strategy and the social selling model. They can actually conflict with each other. What do I mean by this? I mean, every time you make an outward action towards a prospect, they will check your profile. If your profile is too salesy, yeah, and I see it all the time, I help people transform their lives in 90 days, it will put people off. 62% of all LinkedIn users vet somebody by their profile. 49% will check their company page and their content to further vet their prospect, the person that's sending them a connection request, the message, or what have you. So you look at that and you go, hang on a minute, the vast majority of my success is based on what they think of my profile. So we've got a profile optimization session, so I'm not going to dig into that, but fundamentally, your profile will unlock this in terms of, do they think you're a reasonable person? Do they see what you do? And actually, there's a balance to be struck between doing that. I help do this in 90 days crowd, which is more inbound, and this, which is more sales focused and outbound. So that's what happens. So Jess, any action I make towards Jess, she will look at my profile first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at Jess's profile on linkedin.com to see what she's been up to. So my first test here is test number one. I'm going to see what has Jess been up to on LinkedIn. So she posted today promoting our content bootcamp, which starts in August. And she posted this, which is a picture of her in our studio yesterday. And then 3 weeks ago, she posted this. So based on Jess's activity, she's here reasonably regular. When I look on her, that's her post. When I look at her activity, I can see that she's been engaging with other people throughout the day. And so she's active. This means big tick. Jess is here. She's here. So I've got an opportunity. So what I'm going to do is I've got to build a relationship with Jess. So first I have to find the people. That's where Sales Navigator comes in. Now what I have to do is get the visibility and start to build the relationship. Yes, Patrick, if you email us and ask for the profile optimization one, we'll share it. So I need them to see my content so my content can do some of the work. So I need to be connected. I need to build that relationship so the algorithm loves us, you know, match makes us in the feed to make sure we see each other. How does that work? I have to engage with her and she has to engage with me. We have to have a two-way relationship. We have to have a two-way series of interactions for the algorithm, but also to unlock a conversation. If we think by sending message saying, hi, how are you, that's going to unlock sales, it's not. What we have to do is create two-way relationships, two-way conversations. So what we're going to do is basically find the intent and find the interest, and we're never going to pitch. And I'm going to show you a little diagram that will help, and I'll share this with you afterwards so you can have a copy of this. So this is our social selling checklist. It's the simplest way. Let me zoom out so you can see it. So it's the simplest way to use LinkedIn. Now, this takes practice. It takes a bit of playing with and working with, and I'll show you our tracker that we use to help you keep track of your progress. So your job is, remember rule number one, relationships unlock conversations, conversations unlock opportunities, opportunities become sales. Yeah. Relationships, conversations, opportunities, sales. That's the process we're going on here. So we have to create relationships, number one. They have to believe in us. That's where content can do some of the work. Posting and being present, showing up will actually help build belief in us, what we do and what we say we can do for customers. Being present, showing up, a profile that's active, a profile that's churning content will actually help build belief and confidence in us. You know, we see the rise of this. I had one this morning. Somebody sent me a connection, and they were somebody I know, and I turned around. It was some dodgy person posing as somebody else, trying to sell me stuff. This happens all the time. The difference between you and some scammer or spammer or is literally you showing up, you being there. Andy, it's very similar. The content piece for you, because you're more B2C, the content piece from last week would be more beneficial to you. So I'd probably email and ask for that session, because that will help you a lot more, particularly if you've got really strong, you know, really good watches for decision makers, business people. They'll really love it. So people buy solutions to problems. That's the first thing. They don't buy how wonderful you are. If you're posting about how amazing you are and how much work you've done and how busy you are and all that stuff, that's great. But actually people want to see that you can solve their problem. So how are you showing people that you can solve their problems through content? Visibility and consistency, the bigger the sale, the longer the process. And if people don't know, like, and trust you, you've got no chance, absolutely no chance. So let's look at the checklist. So number one, do your research first. Do a bit of research on the prospect, find out who they are, what their motives are, look at a bit what they've been done. I'll give you some simple tips. One of the things we do is we look at what they've been engaging with, what they've been commenting on, what they've posted about, all of this stuff. Why? Because the sale is worth it. So we do the work. And then our whole process, our whole strategy is based on, we need to create interactions before. Sophia, if you email us, we'll send you that link. Anybody who needs anything, resources, you want the checklist from tonight, please do email us and we'll send it all. It'll probably be tomorrow. Chandra, don't put your email address in the chat because we can't see it after the event. Please go and email the email address on screen, hi@maverick.co.uk, and we'll send it all out. So what we need to do is, we know that it takes 3 to 4 interactions to actually get people to talk to you. 3 to 4 interactions. And I don't mean, hi, how are you? Do you have any challenges at the moment? It's like, that's me pretending to vomit, by the way. It's just really cheesy, really transparent, really obvious, really a bit slimy. It's like, let's build a relationship. I'm going to get to know this person, not in a weird stalker way, but I'm going to get to know this person before I try and get a call or a conversation going. So we know it takes 3 to 4 of those interactions. So number one, create a 2-way interaction. Go and engage with their content, number one. Yeah. Create an immediate 2-way interaction that before you connect. Then once you've had a 2-way interaction, connect with them. Dead simple. The connection acceptance rate goes through the roof because you've done the effort to engage with them. And I don't mean spam commenting on their post saying how amazing your company is. I mean actually engage with them about what they're interested in, what they're talking about, all of those things. Then connect. Yeah. Create an immediate 2-way interaction after you've connected with your friends or followers. This adapts to different channels. Again, another one. Don't let your prospect forget you. Interesting point on social media. Yeah. So if you're going to build a relationship with somebody on social media, they can forget you if you're inactive for more than 7 days. 7 days and they've forgotten who you are. Now, it's different if you've met somebody, you've had a call with somebody, you know somebody. It's a little bit better than that. But for the vast majority of what we're doing, if you're inactive for that period of time, they've forgotten who you are. So this is a process that could happen over a few days, and it all depends on the response time and how quickly they respond to you. Content is a brilliant way here of keeping people engaged with you, visible, showing up. What you tend to see with salespeople is they share a lot of stuff from the company page that's not very interesting, quite boring, and then everything's in the DMs. A good balanced profile will be DMs, and it will be engaging your own content and engaging with other people's. It's a three-way split. So when I look at somebody's profile, I look at how often are they posting, what's their engagement rate. If I don't see any engagement, if I don't see them interacting with other people, if I don't see them putting posts up, I know what's coming. I know they're going to sell to me. You know that they'll sell to you. I know that they'll sell to you. So you need the balance: engaging, outbound engagement, content, and DMs. Not one or the other. It's all three together. So the content gives you lots more touch points. Yeah, I post every day, sometimes two times a day, but I post every day because I want my prospects to never forget me, and I want to get my content out there to the world and what I'm thinking and what I'm talking about, so other people get to know me. I'm building a future pipeline that at the moment is just very out there, but more and more people will come out of the woodwork, and I put them into my CRM and I track them and I engage them. That's what we're trying to do. So I use content, and then I create a third two-way interaction. So I need 3 to 4 of these, 3 to 4, to actually make this work. And then the one thing I would advise you to not do is try and start. It's awful when people do it, and it'll feel awful to you doing it, is they try and start a conversation and twist it to business. Did you watch England lose last week? Oh yeah. I bet you're feeling really sick about it. Oh yeah, I'm gutted, absolutely gutted. I felt literally physically sick over it. And how's your health? You see it all the time, and they just twist like normal everyday conversations. And when I see it done to me, I just want to go, I'm not going to say it, because you know what I'm thinking. I just want to say something off. So do the friendships, do the interactions, keep them non-salesy. But when you then go in and you want to talk to them, don't do the sales paragraphs, the war and peace, the 17,000 page sales introduction. All you have to do is go, hey, I've really enjoyed our conversations over LinkedIn. I'd love to have a chat with you about something I'm working on that I think you might be interested in. Have you got 10 minutes? You don't need to do much more than that. And it baffles me that people go to long lengths to convince people that they need a call. And you see it waffle. We've worked with Google. We've worked with Amazon. We've got blah, 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 blah. It's like, oh, who cares? I want to know what you can do for me. If you're going to send me a message, you have to really appeal to me and tell me why. Or you have to make me, as page 1 says, curious. Curious. Because you can't pitch, in a DM well enough to get them to go, wow, that's really exciting. I want to talk to you. You're going to have the conversation. So your job with the message is just to be very clear, very transparent. I really enjoyed our conversations. I'd love to have a chat with you. I think we've got something really interesting that could help you. And I just want to let you see it. 10 minutes. You never know. Maybe where something might not be. Are you around Thursday? And the reason I put a specific day in is because it crystallizes the conversation. It makes it more specific. This is the simplest process and the most difficult process at the same time. Why? Because you're going to have to learn to build digital relationships. You're going to have to create digital conversations. When somebody joins our team, and Jess is doing it at the moment, she started yesterday, one of the first things that our team are trained to do is go and engage with 50 people every single day. 50 people. Go and engage with them. Yes, Steve Higginbotham, you got it right there. People don't want to be sold to, but if you build a relationship, they'll have a call with you. And then it's down to your expertise and your conversational skills to have a nice conversation, but to actually show them how you can help. That's what you've got to do. Peter, what is a two-way interaction? So I'll give you a few. So first one, here's Jess. So I'm going to engage with her post. So she posted this a day ago. So here's a two-way interaction. Jess Davis, welcome to the team. Nice to see you found the studio because you'll be live with Luke 2 very soon. That's a two-way interaction. Now, when I mean two-way interaction, there's two ways to do it. There's lots of different ways, but we'll focus on this one. That's why Sales Navigator is important, because if you've got people active on the platform, you can engage with them, you can interact with them over a period of days, weeks, months, and I'll show you a way we do it. So I've engaged there, and dead simple, Jess will get a notification that Dean has mentioned you in a comment. Luke will get a notification, and I'm looking for Jess's reply to my comment, a like on the comment itself, two-way interaction, or I'm looking for Jess to view my profile, but she hasn't viewed it yet because I've just done it. So that's where I can see now Jess has seen my comment. She's engaged with me, she's interacted with me, and I can move forward. And it takes 3 to 4. And I'll just show you this because this is something that we actually teach in part of our boot camp and part of our LinkedIn Elite program. And this is a process we go, well, hang on a minute. I've got to train people. I've got to get them through my process. I've got to build relationships with the right people. And I've got to move them on to the point where I can arrange a meeting. And I recommend to people with this tracking resource is to actually never work with more than 75 people at once. More than 75 and you'll overload yourself. Why is the tracker so useful? Because you'll forget what you're doing. You can't remember who people are. You'll start something and then you won't go, what do I do now? Where am I up to? What do I need? What's the next step? You'll forget who you spoke to. So many times I've seen it where people message me and I reply back and and show interest and never get a reply. Why? Because they're just focused on what can I do now? What can I do now? What can I do now? This forces you to start going, I'm building a process. I'm building step by step. And the good thing is you never burn one single relationship. Never. You're just building the relationships, building the interactions, and it goes at the pace that the prospect's at. So if somebody isn't ready to engage, they're not ready to engage, no amount of pitching them is going to get them to engage. If you can't, as we call it in the office, love bomb them into a conversation, you definitely won't pester them into a conversation. So this is the process. It's building relationships, using your profile, getting content out there to show your thoughts and ideas and keep you out there in front of the world. And then it's literally following a methodical step-by-step process with every single person to move them from a cold person to a connection, into a conversation, and into a call booked. That's it. And you can overthink it, you can overcomplicate it, you can try and make it more difficult, but that's what it is. You are trying to convince a human being to reply to you. You're trying to convince a human being to engage with you. One of the biggest, Patrick, I'll speak to that in a second. Guys, if you're putting your email address in the comments, please email us directly. Send an email to us and the email's on the screen because we will lose, when the live ends, we'll lose your email addresses. So it's that simple. People try and overcomplicate it. Patrick's just said, it's the second time I've seen curiosity in a sales training today. Curiosity is your biggest weapon. We are human beings. We are inherently curious. We are inherently curious. We inherently want to know. Think about it with your own behavior. How many times do you overhear something and get curious about what was just said? How many times does Netflix put a cliffhanger on at the end of a season and you want to know what happens in the next episode? It's because we're inherently curious. And LinkedIn and what you're doing, your activity, your content, all of that stuff should be showing people how oh, that could work for us. Maybe I should look at that. What we tend to do is try and give all the answers and hope that does the job. We are emotive beings. We are emotive creatures. And we need to engage both our emotions and our logic. Now, a brilliant book and brilliant research that was done a number of years ago about persuasion. And this is really important, really important. Persuasion there's 6 essential principles to leverage persuasion in the business, in your business. Number 1, there's reciprocity. Reciprocity. So reciprocity is where people feel the need to reciprocate. So if you're nice to them, they feel nice back. If you're engaging with them, they feel to engage back. This principle and process is reliant on reciprocity. That's number 1. Number 2 is people generally follow what other people do. So if you're showing up and you're being visible and engaging with it, people will stay consistent with that. So we've seen in various studies whereby if you tell people that other people are doing this, if you show people how other people are doing this, if you guide people to how you fixed other people's problems, they will engage with that. So reciprocity is critical, but I would encourage you to look up the 6 principles of persuasion. I did a little video on it on YouTube a couple of years back, but it's a powerful tool. Reciprocity is one of the powerfulest tools. Of course, persuasion can be abused and misused, but reciprocity is incredible in helping you. Alongside curiosity, give people enough information that they want to know more. LinkedIn is about teasing and appetizing. It's giving people a taste so they want more. It's not laying out a whole buffet meal so they go, oh, I'll pick that and move on. It's about giving them a teaser so they go, that looks nice, that looks interesting, let me pay a bit more attention. That's what LinkedIn's about. That's what this process is about. Wei Yim, I understand what you're saying. How can I start a two-way interaction when my target is not active on LinkedIn? I'll give you another scenario. Many years ago, people used to get what's called the yellow pages. Some of you who are younger watching this, in yellow pages many years ago. Patrick will answer your question in a second. And companies would give the sales rep the yellow pages and literally ask them to flick through and dial the numbers and sell to people. We can think about all the people who are inactive on LinkedIn, and there are lots. And that inactivity and activity level changes all the time. So in your process, you will have a chunk of people who you really want to talk to, but they will be harder, and you might have to work longer to engage with them because they may not post very often, they may not do much on the platform, they may not comment on other people's stuff very often. So they might be your slow lane. But you can only work with what's there. You know, if I can't find an email address of a prospect, I have to go, well, I'll try other avenues, I'll look at other avenues, but I can't just keep worrying about I haven't got the email for that prospect. So Wei Yim, I would think about it like that. If I don't have them, they're not there, I can put them on there to keep them on my radar and think I must keep checking on them. But actually I have to focus on, I have to work with what I've got. So if there's people on the platform you can engage with, that you can sell to, work with them. Keep a list of what you'd class as the more difficult ones, your slow lane prospects, but don't focus on, the worst mistake you can make is picking all the right people, but none of them are there. It's like, I don't know, let me think of a scenario. Knocking on buildings, trying to sell door to door when you know there's nobody in the house. Yeah. Knocking on homes that are empty, that are boarded up and saying, oh, I might be able to sell here. I'd really love to sell at number 24, even though nobody lives there, it's boarded up. So that's what you have to accept. Not everybody is active on LinkedIn immediately, and it does change in fits and starts. So Patrick said, the power of curiosity. Thanks. How do we use that strategically in selling a service? Okay. So one of the things I'll do, Patrick, is I'll engage with a prospect and look through their I'll look through my LinkedIn connections, look at who's doing what, and I'll message them and say, yeah, how are you doing on, how's things on, when I'm going to get a meeting, I'm getting a meeting. I'm not waffling around. I'm not trying to twist it. I'm going, hi, Patrick, saw what you're up to on LinkedIn. I'm happy to give you some tips on how you can double whatever meeting rate you're getting on LinkedIn. I'll show you how you can do it. Yes, I'm going to tell you about my service, but I'll show you that anyway as a freebie, goodwill. Can we have a chat maybe Thursday, 10:30, 15 minutes, and I'll show you exactly how you can do it. That's what I'll do. I'll be straight down the line. This is what I'm going to do. This is the benefit. This is the reason. But I don't tell them how. I dangle the outcome and the challenge. Always it's the pain and the outcome that I use to dangle. And that creates curiosity of, oh, if you've got that problem, you can help with that. Oh, I need to know about this. So Mohammed's just asked that. So that's how I ask. Bilomo, if you're trying to start a conversation when they're not responding, you haven't done the first part. You train your prospects to reply to you by not selling. Stop selling. Forget sales. Forget sales until you've had 4 two-way interactions with your prospects. Forget sales. Just forget it totally. Focus on creating the relationship by engaging with their content, interacting with them. Yes, Patrick, you are clear, but you're not telling them the path. So they want to know more. Any other, obviously, I've gone through this at a pace and we did have some technical glitches at the beginning. So I apologize if some of you missed parts of tonight's session. Please do email us and I'll send you a replay to another LinkedIn session as well. The other thing I wanted to share is if you're going, actually, I'd love to have a chat with you, not to sell you, but if you want to go through this again, we'll do a 15-minute chat and one of our team will walk you through it. So if you want one of them, just email us, hi@maverick.co.uk. We'll send the slides. If you want the checklist, by the way, I'll email that as well. So this little checklist that I shared with you earlier, if you want a copy of this, just email us. Don't put your email in the chat because we won't see it. Email the email address on screen and say, Dean said I can have this information, and they'll send it to you. And if you want to have a chat with us, that's fine. Jagadish, so Jagadish, this is not information for beginners. This is information for advanced users. Yeah. If you're cold pitching people, you're playing to the lowest common denominator. Yeah. If you do this, you unlock. And I'll tell you now, one major global brand, in fact, no, in 5 days, got a conversation and a call booked with a board level director of a major US financial institution in, there was a bank holiday in between. So it was actually 5 business days. In 5 business days. This is not beginners. This is proper serious selling. This is real selling. So if you're wondering why people are not replying to you, you're the beginner. You're the beginner. I'm not Jagadish. I know I'm picked on you a little bit there. But if that's what you're doing and you're not getting replies, you're the beginner. This is proper business to business development. Yeah, this is being used in some of the biggest companies in the world, building digital relationships to unlock sales. It's not beginner stuff. Yeah, because actually it takes some skill to learn and engage with people through comments, through interactions on profiles, and build a digital relationship. So if you're doing an in-mail strategy, I would suggest, first of all, in-mail open rates and response rates are horrendous. They're not brilliant. But what do you think happens to a message to somebody who you've interacted with 3 or 4 times? What do you think happens? Do you think it increases the number of responses? What do you think happens to the connection acceptance rate if you've had 2 meaningful interactions before you connect? It goes up. It goes off the charts. And that's how you get a 20% success rate with everything you do on LinkedIn, because you don't think about it as this is a lot of work. You think about this is how it's supposed to be done. This is the gold standard of how it can be done. You can try and shortcut it and watch those responses fall, watch those success rates fall, but this is how it's really done. It's not automation. Automation can't start a conversation. Automation can't sell anything. Automation can't get you a meeting. And if it can, it's once in a blue moon. This is the real deal. This is the way it really works. Sergio, if you do it all in a day, and I have seen people take somebody through the whole process in a day, it's a bit of a fluke. There's no time between to really see this as more of a relationship building exercise. It looks like somebody's done some work to push to get me into a sale. So for a good one, I would do it over 4 or 5 days. For a very senior one, it might take longer. It all depends on how active they are and how quickly they respond to you. That's how you unlock this stuff. That's how you unlock it. So I wouldn't think about this as one a day. I'd be thinking about this. I'm going to nudge a whole load of people for a few days, and then I'm going to start to see them unlock. It's not about, oh, I do one today and one tomorrow. It's no. You're going to move a few people, and that's the skill here. You might be moving 10, 15, 25 people at once, and some will go quickly and some will go slowly, and you'll put more in and more in and more in. But the success rate, you're not burning anybody, you're not annoying anybody, you're just building relationships and going at the pace that they decide. It's the pace that they respond to you, not the pace you want the sale. Because that's sometimes the problem. We go so quick, we actually burn it. Rachel, it's exactly the same. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. The only difference with Facebook is obviously you have to bring a group dynamic into it, because you can't just go and interact with people's Facebook personal profiles in the same way. So you join groups, Facebook groups of common interests or your prospects' interests, and you engage like hell with them, build the relationships and build the relationships and build the relationships, and then you get a decent conversation. I'm sure you've experienced the people on Facebook just like, hi, I thought I'd introduce myself. So it's really bad. It's like the lowest form of selling. It's like, it's desperate. Anyway, sorry, I'm going on a little rant. Anyway, if you want any of the slides from tonight, you want the social selling checklist, or you want any information, or you want to go, actually, I'd love some free help. We offer 15 minutes free help on LinkedIn. So you can email us hi@maverick.co.uk. We'll send you a link. You can book a time with any of our team, and they'll walk you through it, give you some free advice on this stuff. But from the UK in Plymouth tonight, where it is absolutely sweltering in this room, I'm going to say thank you so much for watching. I'd really appreciate Google reviews, thumbs up, likes, shares, follows, find me on LinkedIn, all that stuff that's good for the algorithm and good for our social. I'd appreciate that if you've got value. And next week, I think we've got another session. We've got a few sessions. We've got a sales navigator training session in a couple of weeks. So go check Eventbrite and our LinkedIn company page for that. Again, all free. And, you know, do this and that and email and all the other stuff that helps us, and tell other people you've had a brilliant training from Maverick if you have. Anyway, I'll see you next week, but thank you so much for watching. And don't just sit on all this stuff. Go and do something with it. Go practice, and you'll find it actually works. So anyway, from Plymouth, UK, have a great evening, and